Welcome back to another Sunday walk video. So today I want to talk about something strange that's going on with Bitcoin. Something that I can't pinpoint at this point in time. So I kind of want to share my two cents about it. And then we'll see if there's anything else I want to share. But yeah, let's get to it. Right now, Bitcoin, as I'm filming this a little bit later, but it's still beautiful out, and you can see the weather's out. Look at the scenery behind me, absolutely beautiful. But as of right now, Bitcoin is stuck under 62,000, about 61.5. And the reason why this is strange is it's pretty obvious, and you could see this in the charts. Bitcoin, all of a sudden, like last week we saw this too. All of a sudden, you would see Bitcoin dip down huge. The volume, the sell volume kick in huge out of nowhere. So it's pretty obvious that someone sold, at that time. That's why you see this massive down wick, right? Or down candlestick for Bitcoin. And then afterwards, what happens is you see Bitcoin slowly climbing back up. And then all of a sudden, you see another major down, right? And that's what's troubling about Bitcoin right now. It has been happening the last few weeks. In fact, I would say the last few weeks. I mean, if you go back a month ago, Bitcoin was still hovering in the high 60s. We even touched upon 70 again. And then we start trending down to about the mid 60s, and now we're kind of hovering around the low 60s, and you'll see just huge sell out of nowhere. And the reason why this is troubling is because I can't identify who's actually selling. Prior, it was pretty obvious that Grayscale and their massive selling had effect on the market. But now, Grayscale outflow has basically diminished, and we even had days of inflow into Grayscale, right? And I saw the numbers on Friday. Friday, we actually had an inflow. So it's not the ETFs, it's not the institutions that are selling. The ETFs are still taking in more than what they're selling. And Grayscale, even though there's been a few days where they still had more sells than buys, overall, now they're starting to take in too. We saw this flipping. That's why last week when I did my Sunday walk video, I'm like, man, I'm very bullish about the upcoming week, because Grayscale, for the first time, stopped selling and actually bought. And this last week, we actually saw more inflows into Grayscale. But unfortunately, this last week, we didn't see a huge, massive pump. We didn't see it increase because we're seeing some unknown entity sell off massive amount of Bitcoin. And I've been looking. It's not ETFs. It's not the miners. There's a lot of charts that show miner outflow or net flow is about the same. The miners are not selling right now either. So then who's selling? Right? Who has enough Bitcoin that's actually selling right now that can actually disrupt Bitcoin's upward movement? So there's only two that I could come up with. Number one, Mt. Gox. And number two, FTX. And FTX may be over soon, but FTX, let's just start out with that. FTX, they did say that everyone that they own money to basically will be repaid. Not only that, they're going to pay them interest. And the reason why they're able to do this is because of their big investment into Anthropic, which is an AI company that Amazon bought out. And number two, whatever asset they held went up in value. So they're not paying back an asset, they're just paying back in dollar amount that was owed. So they actually have more. So they're actually giving out more than what they owe, which is quite interesting. So they're adding on interest. So there's a possibility that FTX is still trying to sell off right now to make cash to pay people back. But I figured by now they would have done so already. We've been hearing about that for over a year. how they may be selling to repay back creditors. So I'm not so sure if they're the ones doing that right now. I think they already sold, but who knows? Maybe they didn't, or they sold portions of it and they are selling now, because again, if they're going to pay back people more than what they owe, that means the price of crypto went up, which means they probably haven't sold yet. And by the way, look at this. See that little guy? And then his family, or her family behind. We got three deers here just chilling. Back on me. That's pretty cool. So it could be FTX. And I don't know if anyone is still tracking their wallets. I tried with CryptoQuant and I didn't see any movement from FTX wallet, so maybe different wallets now. So number one, it could be them, or number two, it could be Mt. Gox. So the latest is Mt. Gox has to repay everyone by October this year. That's what I'm hearing. So does that mean they are selling off right now also to pay back people that are, getting whatever they're owed in cash? Because they're not paying, from what I'm told. I take that back. Some people have asked for cash. Some people have asked for Bitcoin, right? So the people that have asked for Bitcoin, obviously they're not going to be selling. Mt. Gox is not selling ahead of time to give it back to them. So there may be a chance that people that ask for cash, they're selling it for those people. I don't know. We don't know the breakdown, how many asked for cash, how many asked for Bitcoin. And some of the largest creditors of Mt. Gox have said, we're not selling. We've been waiting for 10 years? What's another few years, right? They're going to wait for the bull market to end before selling. So I like to think most people that have been waiting, they're going to continue waiting. They're not going to sell. They're not going to panic sell right now. So yeah, I don't know if it's Mt. Gox. For the people that have asked to be settled in cash, maybe they're selling out for them. Those are the only two that I could think of, honestly. And I'm purely speculating on this because I can't think of anyone else. Hong Kong, their ETFs, are still buying Bitcoin. They have over 300 million, which isn't too bad after 2 weeks of being opened. I know a lot of people were disappointed, but overall, it's just another way, another funnel for institutions and investors to get in Bitcoin. And now, a lot of those fund issuers, they want to issue them in mainland China too. If that happens, watch out. Trillions will be flowing in, because China has a policy right now where all the rich, they can't get their money out. I think it's like 50,000 limit per year. Everything else, they can only invest in what's in-house. But imagine if a Bitcoin ETF was available in China, man, I could see trillions going into that in the near future, if that was allowed in mainland China. So that's something that they're seeking. I don't know if it's going to be approved or not, so we'll see. But yeah, overall, I feel like that's what's going on. We have this incredible downward pressure, sell pressure, from this one entity that I can't identify. I really don't know. And I think, this is against the thesis from a lot of TA guys who are saying we should be going down to 52 and it's going to be a boring summer, or it's going to be a down summer, and that's based on what has happened previous times and previous years. I think it's more than that. I think maybe some of that is true. In fact, I just had a live stream with Noah, who's one of my analysts on CRU Plus yesterday, Cryptos Rust Plus, and he kind of has the same thinking. He's like, you know, summers tend to be boring or bad, and we may trend down this summer, and then we have a terrific, you know, fall and winter leading into 2025. So he's not alone in that thinking. A lot of people think that too. However, based on what has happened in the last few weeks, I think it's more than that. You could just see, like, boom, a huge sell volume come in out of nowhere. That is from someone, some entity that has a ton of Bitcoin to sell, right? I don't know. I'll keep looking, let you guys know where it's coming from. But I'm going back to basically 2 Sunday walk videos before in terms of what I think is going to happen. And 2 videos ago, basically I said, hey, we're either going to straddle the 63.7 mark, which is a support / resistance, and right now it is a resistance. We're either going to straddle that for a few months until Bitcoin is ready to move up, or we could trend downwards to 52. And you know, I filmed that when I believe Bitcoin was around 56, 57, right? And then we quickly went up to about 63, 64. We hovered there for a week or so. Then we started trending downwards now to where we are, about 61, 62, right? So we're certainly not far off from that 63.7 mark. We can certainly go up there within a day, within hours. In fact, we could go right back up there this week. But if we don't, and we continue to see massive sells from this one entity, then maybe we do go down. We trend downwards back to 52, and that's when we skyrocket upwards, right? So for myself, I'm trying to prepare for both scenarios. Scenario number 1, if we just trend around 63.7, nothing changes, continue to do what I'm doing. There's really nothing else. But to prepare for scenario number 2, really it's the same, but I would say I'm trying to get a little bit more cash ready. I think that's the only difference, because if we do trend down to 52, I think it'll be a terrific buying opportunity. Obviously, a great time to be DCAing. But if it happens, you know, that's what I'm doing. But if it doesn't happen and we don't do that, well, it's okay to have a little bit more cash, right? So I guess that's the only thing. The only strategy for me is to kind of build up a little bit more cash just in case, but really nothing else changes. And most of you guys watching, you have your DCA schedule already in place, so it doesn't really matter. I know it does and it doesn't. I'm not trying to, I guess, downplay if Bitcoin goes down to 52, because I know it'll suck. It's gonna suck a lot. Alts are going to drain out a lot. Memes are going to drain out a lot if that happens, right? So I'm not trying to downplay if that happens, but on the grand scheme of things, we have seen nasty drops like that in previous cycles, and history tells us when we take advantage and actually buy at those points, those nasty drop points, we either buy low or DCA, they have returned great gains afterwards, right? Just, you guys know, a lot of you guys watch me, and I've shown enough times where there are many times in a cycle where we see 20, 25, 30, 35% drops. Had you DCA during those low points, well, you would have made a ton on the way up, right? So if we do actually fall down to 52, I think it will be one of those opportunities, right? So for me, just trying to get ready, build a bigger cash pile. That's really it. And of course, I will continue to keep searching to see if I can find out who it is. Maybe this entity, you know, kind of like Grayscale, once they stop selling, the sell pressure goes away and then we can recover and just kind of go sideways, right? But this last week, definitely we saw someone that kept pushing and pushing and pushing. But you know, despite that, we are still higher than a couple weeks ago when we fell down to 56, right? We are still above 60s, so we haven't retested down below 60 yet. So not all is lost, I guess. There's still a really good chance that we can turn right back around. So don't be too discouraged, guys. But one thing I did learn from Noah yesterday during our stream is it's not time to go heavy into alts, and I agree with that. He was looking at it from the perspective of ETH versus Bitcoin dominance. I don't know if I trust that completely because ETH has been really underperforming this cycle. But we have seen charts about altcoin dominance, Bitcoin dominance, and yeah, it's not flipping to altcoin dominance right now. Bitcoin dominance is still strong. We're not seeing a surge in altcoin dominance. So I definitely don't think this is the time to be flipping heavy into alts. If you have been DCAing, that's fine. But if we do fall back down to 52, the alts will drain a lot more than Bitcoin. I'll guarantee you that. It happens every single dip. So if we drop 10K for Bitcoin, expect all your favorite alts to drop in a drastic way. And again, if you're a long-term investor, a long-term holder, you should be salivating because it's like going back in time and being able to buy your favorite alts at a discounted price, right? But if you're not a long-term or seasoned investor, just know that it's normal. Don't be afraid. Continue to learn and educate yourself about cycles, about our macro environment, about the fundamentals, about promising tech. All of these things, and you'll see the right move is to stay in the game, continue to hodl, and DCA along the way. That's really it. That's really it. All right, so that's my 2 cents about everything. Do I have anything else? Not really. This last week I did see alts pretty much. Alts getting a little bit weaker. I think that's to be expected. Memes, I'd say memes kind of held well. At least the ones I'm looking at. They didn't get much weaker. They did get a little bit weaker, but no weaker than, say, the alts did. And there are still some memes that are still doing well. But like right now, obviously, everything is moving with Bitcoin, as it always has. And that's why I've always suggested the 50-25-25 rule. It's never a bad idea to go 50% Bitcoin for that stability and strength. And then 25% in big caps for some growth and some stability. And 25% in mid, low, small caps and micro caps for that hyper growth. But during weakness, you know, that 25% of mid, small, micro cap can hurt. That's why you're limited to 25%. You're not going to 50 or 75% because then it'll really discourage you, right? That's about it. I don't know. Really nothing else going on. I'm going to enjoy this walk. I'm going to finish it up. I'm just looking at the screen right now, how beautiful it is outside. You can see the beautiful sky and the green all around me. I'm gonna go enjoy this walk. I'm gonna finish it up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye-bye.